Hey guys, Rorius here. Welcome back to the Stanley Parable. So, the ending I want to go to is the
When Stanley
museum
came to
ending.
a set of two open doors, he
I
entered
believe
the
to
door
do
on his
that,
left.
I have to follow the narrator's instructions right towards the end. Right up until the end.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
I forgot that this happens. I read it and I was like, I think it's 2845. Typed it in straight away. The narrator hadn't given me the code yet, so he forces me to listen to this.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
And instead of going through there, we go down the escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
And you can, that's like used to try and stop you from going this way.
Shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Yeah.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yay! Whee! Yeah, so you intentionally go to what is described as your death. We arrive in this little, like, minecart type thing.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Except... Wait a minute. Ta-da!
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
I like there's a narrator of the narrator. It's so great.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Yeah, so we're in this, like, museum. And we get to wander around and have a look at all the things. Stanley's computer, for instance. The office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. So we've got Stanley's office, and then we've got the, like, first room that he goes to, second room, and then down the corridor. Oh, corridor. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Right, yeah. The two doors. The set of two open doors was the very first concrete piece of Stanley Parable design. Once the room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Yeah, so we've got a couple of other designs for the office. I do like the one they went with, the sort of like warm coloured one. Does look good, in my opinion. Button sounds. A selection of sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Okay. Sure. Filing cabinets. I love the stuff that they put in here. Nature painting. So I guess these are all the paintings that they use throughout the game. Like in different parts of the office. That one I'm pretty sure is in Stanley's office. Office computers. Can't read what that actually says. Whatever the case, we've got a solitaire one. And we've got an employee database one. Well, whatever the case. Here's the credits. You've got written and designed by Davey Redden and William Pugh. Yeah, Davey Redden is the one who also made the Beginner's Guide that we played earlier. Oh, and it's, yeah, Kevin Brighting is the narrator. He's great. I love his voice. Which way should I go? I'll go this way. We've got the maintenance room. An early version of the maintenance room. Oh, it's got all the dev textures and everything. Nice. These are screenshots of the Stanley Parable HD Remix. The point of the Stanley Parable HD Remix is to win. The point of the Stanley Parable HD Remix is to lose. More endings, fewer endings, more narrators, fewer narrators, more Stanley, less Stanley. Am I going crazy? Maybe it isn't the same image. Was that clock there before? I don't remember. How do I go back? Can you check for me? Just text all over the screen. And I can see, can't see the images because of all this text. If someone could just get rid of this text, and maybe I could see what this game is about. Words, words! Greenlight. In September of 2012, we submitted the Stanley Parable to Greenlight, Valve's process of approving games for Steam. The Greenlight page had only a series of cryptic photos, which were still enough to win the community's approval. Yeah, these ones. Nice. Alien base, awesome. Warzone. In early development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. So there's like a little bit of flora from the area, some internal stuff here, some external stuff here. What's in here? Narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use them in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. From Wong Yong, subject, urgent response needed. Please, I would like to keep this proposal as a top secret and delete— oh god, I ran out of time. Anthony W., what is this strange number? Could you tell me what the significance of the number 1112800 is? Regarding your game in the works. Dear narrator, I appreciate the previous Stanley game as a work of art and a standalone title. I appreciate the credit given— oh god. Dick Dunk. Gay. You are gay. Some things never change. I won't read all of them. If you want to see them all, play the Stanley Parable. The Lounge. An early version of The Lounge. It's very basic. I was like, what's that noise? It's the little apartment timer. Just resets, yeah. The apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Right. Oh, I haven't seen that ending yet in this playthrough. I shouldn't really be here, should I? I shouldn't be looking at this. It's spoilers. The cargo lift. This second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo was actually stored. Yeah. The cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to their death. Right, yeah. So we've got a set of options here. I'm just going to read this really quick. Maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right, since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Yeah, so I think the one that won out was the first one, number 1, wasn't it? Oh, this is another one of those ones that was cut, I think. Zending model. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the 4th version of that ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it again shortly before launch. Yeah, there's definitely another Zending. 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 This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Yeah, I thought so. I was like, it's not just a straight up ending anymore. I knew it. Zending levers. These levers were originally a part of the Zending. The player would pull a lever, and the narrator would describe what color the lever they had pulled. Okay. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Yeah. Trailers. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. Oh. I'll stand back here so we can see it while I'm reading. This is the first one, released in May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator informing viewers that he is preparing a new version of the Stanley Parable. I remember that trailer. It was a weird trailer. I had played... That's the thing, I played the original mod version of Stanley Parable. So, when this was being announced and talked about and made and all that, I was around. I was one of those people, you know, excited for the release. Freedom ending. This was the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Countdown disc. One of the discs from an early version of the countdown ending. There we go. I can't interact with it. Never mind. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it existed in beta. Oh, I see. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down, with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed the 2 endings together instead. Right, yeah. Countdown room. An early version of the countdown room. So yeah, for anyone who hasn't played this, some of this will not be familiar to you. And that's okay. Game design mock-up. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. Oh, I see. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mock-up is still the same. Or is still in the game, sorry. Right. Yeah, I wasn't really aware of how it all came to be in terms of Davey and William. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm still not 100% how their business relationship was created, you know. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, the second in March 2012, and the third in February 2013. Yeah, so we've got a basic desk with some filing cabinets. We've got like a wraparound desk, and then we've got the final... There's another wraparound desk, but just with the one computer screen. This is the boss's office. Screens from the development of the boss's office, yeah. This is like the first version, which with all the like dev textures. Second version, which looks a lot like... Well, actually, no, this is the first version. First version, very simple. Second version, with a bit more like bookshelves and stuff like that. And then the final version. Yeah. Office clock. Employee lounge. Just like models from there. And we've got the underground, an early version of the underground portion of the game. So yeah, this is like where the escape is actually written on the wall over there, whereas the mind control facility is on the far wall. Oh god. Narration outtakes. Kevin Brighting, the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game. You can just hear very, very subtle narrator voices. Just sort of scattered throughout the room. That's weird. I think that's all that's in here. Although I could have easily missed something because it's such a web of a museum.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Off.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
So yeah, it's trying to get you to quit to menu.
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
You can either choose to just let it kill you, or you can quit intentionally. Oh, I think I still have to quit. I think it's just a black screen. I think I have to quit to menu, or begin the game again. There we go. Alright. Now, there's a couple other things I want to try and find. Oh, damn. It doesn't save the progress for this input thing. When you load a game, it doesn't retain that shit. What the? Yeah, we've gone into a different office. That pathway was different.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Something I want to do. Oh, no, I'll go this way first.
Took the first open door on his left.
Yeah, and you can go this way, and it takes
so
you back.
He detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
This is that little thing that they had shown, where it was like a little loop. You can either go down here, or you can continue and you can loop back. You can reattach yourself to the loop that you were in before.
Disbelief. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Now, if we just stand here for a bit.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why?
Oh, dear.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me, because literally, this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
You can just continually stand in here, and there's quite the dialogue.
To you, this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Oh dear.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
I think that's where it does end. He's like, waits for waiting for new human to take the place of the person playing the game. Alright, let's go.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Which way do I want to go? I'm going to go down here. This is a pretty crazy ending.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
Like, wait a minute.
He thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that it had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Oh my God.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
He opens his eyes. He's still here.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? and everything went black.
Oh my god.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
So, it's like the insanity ending. The crazy ending. Oh. I went to just begin straight away to get to a new ending, but immediately this office is different again. There's no actual office, it just leads straight to the two
When
doors.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, I'm gonna go this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
But I'm not
Perhaps he
gonna
wanted
loop
to
back
stop
around
by
this
the
time.
employee
So now this time, we've jumped off and we've fallen to our
perhaps
death.
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I believe we've done
I'm
the
not
right
your
thing.
enemy, really,
We've done all that we can, both
I
ways.
realize that
in there.
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is
Yeah.
it, Stanley.
I don't think you can go
Your
for
chance
shit,
to
no.
redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Yeah.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone and... I forget how this ending goes now. Oh, it is this one. Okay, wonderful.
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Room 427.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Ugh.
Gotcha. Oh, come
Disturbing.
on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad
Tiny
story
apartment.
about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 47. Press C on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Press U.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Yeah, things have changed. This looks different.
But in his
Sorry.
mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures.
There used to be a couch
From
and a
behind his
table.
desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press E to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
This is such a meta ending. Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press P to prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible
slowly
paths and
turning back into our
destinations.
office.
Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
We haven't seen that
And
ending
down
yet.
another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Press T to tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press B to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Press 8 to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
It's very
He
true.
won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Wait a minute. Let's just see what happens. I forget if you can actually do anything here. Like anything special. I think it just will sit here until you press it. There's no way to continue without pressing it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press T to question nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please die.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
I guess Stanley just dies on the spot there. He's told to die, so he dies. Oh my god. I'm gonna go this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room. Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I am gonna go on to the... Oh, actually, I'll go that way next time. There's another thing I want to do through
Stanley
here.
was so bad at following directions.
Yeah, so we do the same thing we did
Stanley,
last time.
Your chance
Get all
to
the way
redeem yourself,
to this room
to
here.
put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh god. And
That's
instead...
her, Stanley. You. Oh no! You can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
Papers rustling.
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken.
I'm gonna stand over here
this
so you
is
can
why
see
you've
the
been able to make correct
dialogue.
and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make
2 +
sense,
4
in all
equals
likelihood,
fish.
that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Excuse me? My god, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a pet
Excellent.
sack and crack.
Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Okay. So yeah, for once we actually go backwards. I actually don't remember how this goes now.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
Yeah, they got a little
Imagine the main
fence around
character
it.
dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Nice. I think we go all the way back to the doors. Do we? I don't remember how this, like, story goes, how this ending goes.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
At least I think that's how it intends to go.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, I actually do get a choice. Alright, well I'm gonna...
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Everything's like warped and messed up. Oh, I didn't remember this ending. This is not one of the ones that I remember. So I think you can only go left, but I think it's too late by this point. I think that's the deal. Yeah.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
I want to see what happens if I go left. Given that same situation again.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly.
Oh, I think I just... Oh. Okay. What's happening? It actually genuinely feels like it's broken. I think I have to begin the game again. It's like genuinely non-functional at this point. Alright, I chose to begin the game again. Here's a little something.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility?
Just
He had
close the
never
door
been
and
trained for
continue.
that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
And as per usual, it ends. Just like that. Oh? Oh, wait a second, this is a special
All of
one.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's right. I was like, I remember this room. Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Console, bark. Okay, I quickly looked it up. This whole console bark thing is a little side secret. This is just a reveal of how to make it happen. It's not part of the ending or anything. I was like, I remember doing something with that, but I couldn't remember what I did.
When Stanley
Because
came
you can't
to
just
a set
open the
of
console
2
by
open
default.
doors, he
You
entered
have
the
to-
door on his left.
You have to use the old school launch options dash console in order to get it to work. Alright, one quick thing I'm going to check. Okay, so we're going back to this
Now
part
remember,
again.
all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would.
So
That
we
means
went to the
choosing
right and broke
responsibly
everything
and
last time.
always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So I think this leads to a different ending. I think. I'm not even sure about that. Does it just go back to normal?
Yet there was not a single person
Oh, it
here
does.
either.
It actually just goes back to
Feeling a
normal.
wave of
Holy crap.
disbelief,
I
Stanley
didn't know
decided
that.
to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, wait, is the rest of the game just now locked off? So it only allows me to do the normal proper ending? Oh, no, it is different.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Do I have to speak? Do I actually have to say something? Night Shark 112.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
How do I do that? Ah.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Ah. How do I do that?
Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
I can't speak.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly. Feeling a wave of disbelief, behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing.
I don't remember this ending or any of this part. Is this supposed to happen? I don't remember.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
I keep reaching that point and then it just goes dark
exactly
and
as
I go
Stanley
back.
would. That means choosing responsibly.
I go to the door on my right.
No! Why did you do that?
Okay.
Quickly.
No, I think I've reached that point that I can't return.